The Australian Workers' Union is pleading with the federal government to do more to lower the Australian dollar to help the country's ailing manufacturing industry. The future of 600 jobs at Alcoa's smelter at Point Henry near Geelong is uncertain after the company announced a review of the operation. The Victorian government is also planning to talk to company bosses in coming weeks. Reporter Ben Knight is at Point Henry. He joins me now. Ben, what's happening there today?
Well, Joe, what's happened here today is that the company is going around crew by crew and talking with them about this review, which the story, of course, broke yesterday, so there won't be too many people, if any, inside this plant who don't know what's coming. But the big question is, what is that going to mean? And are their jobs going to be safe? And how long until they know whether their jobs are going to be safe or not? Now, what also happened this morning was that the union has been inside. They've had their own briefing, and they came out and spoke to us a short time ago. What the union is saying is that this is a plant that can be saved. There is every reason to believe that this can continue in the way that this plant has been smelting aluminium here for 49 years. What they're saying is that it's been profitable for those 49 years. What we're going through is a temporary blip with the high dollar, with the drop in base metals prices, but that's not going to last. And when we do come on the other side of that, this place, they say, should still be going. Obviously, 600 direct jobs here, but indirectly 2,000, and it's just impossible to estimate what damage this would have on Geelong if this place were to close down. It would just be an absolute disaster. But what the union is saying is that not only does the government need to consider what it can do to help keep this going, this morning they've really put the onus back on the company. They said, you have made a lot of money out of this plant for almost half a century. You've done it with the help of particularly the Victorian taxpayer. Where's the loyalty? What are you going to do, Alcoa Australia, to say thank you, to put back and to keep this place going?
Ben, is there any suggestion from the unions that maybe they could the company could wind back operations through this tough period and then step them up again once things get better?
Well, no, in fact, just the opposite. I mean, one of the things the union has said is that it's willing to consider things like perhaps cuts in pay or, all those other things which would require workers to make some sacrifices. But on the other side, they're saying, no, what this needs is investment. One of the problems here is that it's an ageing plant. Now, Alcoa says it's put more than $300 million into investing in this place over the past 5 years, but it's still an old plant. The union says there is a lot more that can be done to modernise it, to make it more efficient. It's investment that it needs, not cutbacks. And so when, again, this blip of the high Australian dollar or the resources boom and the base metals passes, this place is in a situation to continue manufacturing for another half a century.
And what are they suggesting that the federal government can do?
Well, at the moment, whoever's got an idea, they'll be willing to listen to.
Yeah.
Look, it's the union say, look, we're going to come up with our own plan. We obviously want the company not to just pull out and shut this place down. We want Victorian and federal governments to do what they can to try and keep this place open. But, it's unlikely, I think, that this is the last time we're going to be standing in front of a factory like this, particularly in Victoria. There's going to be more of this, and it needs a broader debate than just factory by factory.
And Ben, I read somewhere this morning that this was the biggest employer in the area. Is that right?
I couldn't confirm that, but it would certainly be one of them. One figure that I have heard is that somewhere between 3 to 7 jobs depend on every one job at this plant. Now, you would know that Geelong, it's Victoria's second city. It's the manufacturing heart of the place. This is where Ford are, and Ford are just a huge part of this community. It's the same sort of deal. So when you get something like Ford talking about, well, we may not be able to continue manufacturing here. When you have Alcoa saying, we may not be able to keep this place open, it's terrifying because it would be utterly devastating for a city like this.
Okay, Ben Knight at Port Henry in Victoria, thanks very much for that.
Thanks, Joe.